What is going on? In this video, I'm going to discuss two issues I'm having with the Kuat NV 2.0 base model bicycle carrier. This is the hitch type, as you can see. So the first problem I'm having, if you come down here a little closer, I'm going to show you this bolt. This bolt right here is what's used on the pivot for, I'm going to move this a little bit, this is used when you pivot this hitch carrier. It's coming loose. I've had it come loose twice. So what happens is it causes extra wobble. And I had this knob tightened and everything, and I see my bike's wobbling around in the back, and I came to figure out why. Two things were causing the bikes to wobble. One, this bolt. Go ahead and move to the other side so you can see the hex side of that bolt also. So this bolt here. This is actually assembled when you get the unit. You only have to put these arms on when this thing comes out of the box. But this bolt was tight when I got it, and then after, you know, drove for 200 miles and then we rode some dirt roads, it came loose. But the other thing I noticed, and this is twofold on the way the bikes fit. So these bikes are both medium frames. This is a Specialized Enduro. This is a Giant Rain. This one's got 29-inch tires, front and rear, the Specialized, and the Giant has 29 front, 27.5 in the back. So the reason I'm pointing all that out, look at the seat position. I've got both of the dropper posts dropped all the way down because obviously you can't have these seats up or they'll hit the handlebars. Okay, but this is the second position I've tried, and what I mean by that, and this ties in with how the bike was wobbling, these front tire trays are adjustable, and I have them in the low position now. Now Kuat tells you that the purpose for doing that is because when you lower this, you can put longer wheelbase bikes on, because by lowering this, it pulls the front forward and allows the back tire to be on the tray. Now that was a problem because I had these up originally because the bikes fit better and I was able to clear the seats with the handlebars. But what happened was the Giant in particular, the tire was almost hanging off the back of the tray. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to readjust those trays and show you that, because I just don't want anybody to be confused as to why I'm having the issue with the seats and the handlebars. That's because the length of the bike comes too far off. Now that may change obviously with different bikes, depending if you got, you know, small, extra small, large. You may not have this particular problem, but if you are running two bikes that are the same size, you may have a similar issue that I'm having. So just let me real quick pull these bikes off, readjust those trays, and you get to see how the trays are adjusted if you're interested in this model. You know, I'm not trying to bash this thing. It's just an issue. There's two issues that I've had, and as someone who goes off-road, that bolt coming loose, that's a bit of a problem for me. And I know Kuat says these are not designed for off-road use. It literally says that in the paperwork you get with this bike rack. So yeah, I get it, you know, they've got the full disclaimer on that, but I mean, we're mountain bikers, we go off-road. So, and two things I want to mention with respect to the off-road driving and the dropper posts on the mountain bikes, dropper seat posts. Okay, so the off-road driving, when I say off-road driving, we weren't like four-wheel drive, rugged ruts, driving fast. I mean, we were driving particularly slow because of the rack, like much slower than we would have driven. So it wasn't like we were beating on this thing. I'm talking, I was driving down dirt roads, like graded roads that were in pretty good shape, and you can control your speed very well, and you can just minimize the impact on this thing. So, you know, it's not like I was going crazy Baja in this thing through the desert. And then the seats. Why do I care about having the seats down aside from tearing them up on the handlebars? Well, me personally, and it's actually common knowledge, you're not supposed to keep these dropper posts down for like extended storage. Like even manufacturers tell you that if you're gonna have this bike stored in your garage or wherever you store it, you're supposed to have your seat up, because the reason is these things do have, a lot of them are air, they have an air cell in them. They're a pressurized vessel. So you might not think that's a big deal if you're just going to your local trails or whatever, but if you're driving, you know, hundreds of miles, or you're on an extended trip and you're driving, you know, 1,000 miles or more over the course of a week or two or something like that, and you've got these seats down all the time, maybe it's not a big deal, maybe people don't care at all. But to me, I would rather be able to store my bike or load my bike on the rack with the seat up. So the fact that I have to, in order to get these bikes right, to have the seat down, that kind of bothers me. I see that as a design flaw. I would like to see Kuat and other manufacturers engineer a solution to where you can stagger bikes. You have more options to stagger your bikes depending on the size of models you have. We need to make this issue known. People need to know about it. And then secondly, it needs to get back to Kuat one way or another so they can address it. So let's do the real-time adjustment of these trays. It's pretty easy once you get that bolt loosened. I've been keeping it pretty tight. I don't know what its specification is off the top of my head, but if you put this thing at the top setting, you can get the seats to clear, but now your tires are going to hang off the back. So let's go ahead and get that tray up. And you probably noticed I pulled that Allen key out of the back. This carrier actually stores the Allen key as well, which is great because obviously if you're moving bikes around or riding with different people, you know, day to day, week to week, you can quickly adjust your trays and you don't have to forget or lose your tool because it's stored in the back. I'll show you guys that too once I get done. Like I said, I didn't know the torque, but I put a little bit of power into it when I tighten it, because this isn't something you want to come loose when you're going down the road. You got to loosen it up pretty good to get that other position. Now you see how this thing comes up like that. Now the tray positions totally different angle, and this will solve my seat to handlebar issue for the most part, not totally. There's another thing you're going to see with that, why I was experimenting with this. So I'll get those snug. Then if you come around back here, you'll see that this Allen wrench actually gets stored. Come way around here so you can see it. This Allen wrench can actually store in the unit itself, which is cool. So let's pop this on here. Come in a little bit. Go through the paces here. Alright, got that. Now you see how far off the back this tire is? I mean, literally the center is actually off the back. This was a problem because I think this exacerbated that bolt coming loose, because this bike's center of gravity is now off center quite a bit. This is an e-bike, as you can see. It is less than the weight limit of this rack, but it is close. But literally all the weight is off center, and this tire center is off the back of the rack. It's as far as it can go. So it's already flawed to begin with in terms of fitment for that particular positioning. Latch this on real quick. I'll show you guys the seat issue. At first it doesn't look like it's an issue, but it actually moves, because when I first tried it, okay, so you say, oh, that seat clears, and you pop this one open, you say that seat clears. But when I had put this together at home and I first loaded it, this seat was actually touching here, and then I moved it around and I got it to change. What I noticed is, okay, I'm gonna be okay with this, right? And I'm gonna go down the road. It's gonna move and it's gonna tear my seat up. So that's why I went with the lower tray position. That and the tire, the rear tire position. Now you might say that's not an issue, but you know, I'm sure that's going to catch somebody, because somebody's going to be trying to clearance those seats and they're not going to pay so much mind to the rear tire thing. Then they're going to end up with the wobbling issue, or this bike's going to come back. And that's the other thing that was happening, is if you don't have this bike forward enough, it'll want to come out of that front tray. So I definitely was not going to trust that, because I saw there was enough movement. This seat was going to get tore up going down the road. This one's got a little more room, but like I say, the fitment of the bikes, that issue might just be a little bit unique to the specific bikes I have. But if you, like I say, if you're running two similar frame size bikes, if you're running two of the exact same bikes, you're going to run into the seat to handlebar problem for sure. If the bikes are the same, if the bikes are similar, you're likely going to have it. And you need to pay attention to that back tire position, because you may be inclined for some reason or another to have this in the highest position, but you need to be mindful of that wheel center. And you need to drop that tray if the wheel center is hanging off of the back of the tray. So that's what I've got for you guys in this video. Thanks for watching.